All the way from the start, I can feel it in my heart, like all the way from the start.
Hey, what's going on out there? I'm Sean Devine. Hope you all are doing well. Today I've got a new video where we're going to take a look at my top 5 studio purchases under $100. So for those of you who are looking to pick up some budget items that are going to make your studio work a little bit easier and provide some usefulness and a lot of value, these are some great items to consider. These are things that I've been using for many years, and they have definitely been worth the investment tenfold. So let's go ahead and dive into it. The first item that I have on this list, you may have seen it in some of my other videos. It is a Hum X by Ebtech. And what this does is it actually takes out any hum, any electrical issues that you may be having with certain components. You know, maybe you've got a ground loop in your house, you've got some electrical problems. So this is very useful. I have a couple of keyboards, old keyboards, that have a significant hum when they're plugged in, and that can come through my microphones. It can affect a lot of the recording that I'm doing in the studio. So these are especially useful. I am actually using one on my iMac computer at this very moment because it has a particular sort of ground loop sound that it produces, and it was driving me crazy. And then I plugged in one of these into the actual iMac computer, and this helps tremendously. So if you're having noise problems, you're experiencing any of those issues, this is a great purchase, and it comes in under $100. Moving on to number 2 in my list of top purchases under $100 for the studio is a sound level meter. And I got this a long time ago from Radio Shack. I'm going to put a link below to where you can find a similar one. But this is very useful for making sure that you're monitoring at consistent levels. So a lot of you out there are asking, you know, how loud should I put my monitors? And this is a really important piece for the studio to protect your hearing, because what I do is I use this to measure the playback. I made sure that I was setting this at a certain reading on the sound level meter. And now anywhere I go, no matter what studio, I take this with me and I measure the level just to make sure that I'm not going above that, because ear fatigue as well as ear damage, you know, hearing damage is a real thing. So this is very useful for that. It's also useful for just measuring various things that you may be recording. Maybe you want to get optimal levels on or get consistent levels on. It's just always a useful thing to have around this sound level meter. Again, well under $100, and you will get a lot of use out of this, and you'll protect your hearing. So it's well worth the investment. Coming in at number 3 on my list of top 5 studio purchases under $100 is going to be a pop filter. Now this one is a metal pop filter. So a lot of you are probably familiar with, you know, maybe the mesh, or it's kind of like a fabric. And I've used those in the past. Honestly, this one has a lot of advantages for that. Sound wise, it's great. You know, it definitely prevents those pops and the plosives there. These fabric ones, they tend to deteriorate pretty quickly. So this one's held up. I've had this for, you know, probably 5 years now or more. And you can wash it very easy. You know, if you've got a performer that's spitting, or maybe they don't have the best smelling breath in the world, brush your teeth before you go to the studio. But no, you can wash this and it's very durable. I'm not sure of the exact brand, but I'm gonna put a link to it. I'll find it and I'll share that below. But it also has a really good connection to the stand or the adapter that goes on your mic stand. And then I've just found that the length of this and the way that it positions is particularly useful to me. Now, the other thing that's great about a pop filter like this is not only is it gonna protect your microphones, it's gonna protect the plosives, you know, all the heavy sorts of popping sounds. So if you've got a performer where, you know, you can set this up for them and kind of have an optimal distance between the pop filter and the microphone, you're going to tremendously help them with mic technique. So it's very useful. Definitely recommend picking one of these up, and it comes in at about $70. Coming in at number 4 is definitely a good external hard drive. You've probably seen I have a video about using external hard drives in the studio. They're especially useful for backups, as well as making your system a little bit better in terms of performance. I have a number of external hard drives, but you want to have at least one, and this one is in fact under $100, very good performing external hard drives. It is a G drive. They're just very reliable and they have great performance for the DAW. So highly recommend having one of these laying around, at least one of these. Last but not least, coming in at number 5, I'm going to show you in just a second, is a USB hub. Now this is not just any USB hub. I purchased this after the fact. I wish I had gotten this a long time ago. I was using a USB hub previously that was not powered, meaning it wasn't something that you hooked up through AC. It was actually powered from the computer. Now, the problem with this is in a studio environment where, we have a lot of different devices hooked up. I have synthesizers, I've got the DeepMind, I've got MIDI controllers, I've got hard drives, I've got all kinds of stuff hooked up to that hub. Now, if it's not powered, what ends up happening is a lot of times my hard drives were actually cutting off. They were, becoming demounted or unmounted in OS X just by themselves because they were losing power. They didn't have proper power. So by getting a powered one, I got rid of all that problem. Any of the things that were cutting themselves off, that doesn't happen anymore. And I also have a lot more connectivity now. I think the one I have, I'm going to put a link to it and I'll give you a closer look here. I think it has 7 or 8 USB connections. Now, these are USB 3.0, so they are fast. I don't have 3.0 on this iMac, but just knowing that I do have the fastest connection possible. And it also has some charging ports. So if you have, like a phone or something like that, then you can easily charge that. And I also have a light that's attached to the back of my computer that I can turn on and off with a switch. And these are all switchable. So all these can be turned on and off. Again, very handy thing if you just want to turn a hard drive off or something else that may be connected. So very useful there. All right, y'all. So that's a quick rundown of my top 5 purchases under $100 for the music studio. These have definitely come in handy for me over the years. I truly believe they will for you as well. If you have any recommendations for affordable gear that's really helped you, feel free to leave a comment below. I'm going to put a link to all these items in the description if you want to check them out. If you learned anything in the video, please like, subscribe, and consider sharing. And we'll talk to you soon.